Coming up today on Good Morning BU.
The Israel Security Agency releases new findings from an investigation on the October 7th attacks.
Mayor Michelle Wu testifies before Congress on Boston's status as a sanctuary city.
BU heads to space after a successful moon landing.
And the BU women's hockey team will take the ice tomorrow for the Hockey East Championship.
While our lifestyle correspondent shows us how to shop for fashion sustainably.
Live from Studio West in the College of Communication, Good Morning BU starts right now.
Hello and welcome to Good Morning BU. I'm Akua Deval.
And I'm Sydney Toff. Here are today's top stories. Some breaking news this morning after a large unexplored World War II-era bomb was found on some of France's busiest train tracks. All trains to London and northern France have been halted. The unexploded device was discovered by workers along the tracks in St. Denis. Paris police and a demining team are working to resolve the issue, but said there is no reason to fear.
The Israel Security Agency released their findings on Tuesday from an investigation onto the October 7th attacks on Israel. The report sparked division between Israel Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Israeli prime military leaders. Shin Bet, the Israeli security force, took responsibility for failing to act upon early signs of imminent strike by Hamas on October 7th. Lieutenant General Herzi Halevi, chief of staff for the Israeli military, announced he will resign later this month. The Israeli military leaders argued Netanyahu's cabinet failed as well. They say the Israeli government allowed the enemy forces to build up their arsenal leading up to the attack. They also say civil unrest within the country weakened the country's defenses. Netanyahu questioned a deeper investigation onto the Israeli government's actions in the time of the attack. In Gaza, President Donald Trump says he is giving the final warning for Hamas to release Israeli hostages still held in the territory. Steve Witkoff, the U.S. envoy to the Middle East, spoke to the press on the matter.
There's a lot of conversation among these hostages about the deprivation that they went through, about murders that they saw. And I think that the president listened to it, absorbed it, and said, it's unacceptable.
Trump's statements come after the White House confirmed it was holding direct talks with Hamas about the remaining hostages.
Trump suspended tariffs on the Mexico and Canada on Thursday. This marks the second time in 2 months that Trump rolled back the tariffs from the U.S.'s biggest trade partners after announcing it.
And I spoke to the president of Mexico, wonderful woman, today, and we helped them out with the problem they were having to do with the tariffs, short-term tariffs. And we had a very good conversation.
After the tariffs took effect on Tuesday before Trump withdrew them, stocks fell sharply. CNN reports that Trump and his team were closely watching the market to see the impact. The exemptions are set to expire on April 2nd, with Trump planning to impose a global regime of tariffs on all of U.S.'s trading partners.
The Supreme Court voted to block the Trump administration's emergency bid to freeze almost $2 billion in foreign aid policy on Wednesday. In a close 5-4 decision, the court rejected the Republican administration's second attempt to freeze funding to U.S. aid programs that are, quote, wasteful and don't agree with President Trump's foreign policy goals. Trump-appointed conservative Justice Amy Coney Barrett sided with the 4 liberal-leaning justices. The temporary setback for President Trump has had devastating effects for nonprofits and businesses worldwide as they wait to receive the money they are owed. Many USAID services have already been cut, and thousands of workers were laid off as a result of President Trump's original executive order. Pete Morocco, Trump's appointee to oversee the dismantling of USAID, did not clearly answer if he would obey the Supreme Court's ruling after the vote Wednesday.
In an interview with CNN on Tuesday, Senate Majority Leader John Thune responded to the U.S. joining with Russia, North Korea, and Belarus to vote against a UN resolution condemning Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
My view is whether we like it or not, it's a dangerous world, and you do have bad actors out there. You got the Russians and the Chinese, the North Koreans, and the Iranians all working together in an unholy alliance. And I think the U.S. people look to the U.S. as the leader.
Thune's remarks come after a fiery exchange between Trump and Zelensky in the Oval Office last week about the U.S.'s involvement in the war between Russia and Ukraine. Trump announced on Monday that the U.S. will pause sending military aid to Ukraine.
70 states sued the 504 accommodations were unconstitutional last month. Our politics correspondent, Maria Pemberton, talked to an expert and students more about this.
Last month, 17 states filed a lawsuit challenging an act that guarantees individuals with disabilities protection from discrimination. Section 504 of this law ensures that people with disabilities receive essential resources from institutions that accept federal funding. Dr. Zachary Rossetti, an associate professor of special education, said Section 504 allows for students to receive accommodations, such as extra time during exams or quiet testing locations when faced with any kind of impairment.
If Section 504 were to be revoked, broadly, it would mean that the freedoms and the protections for disabled students, disabled people in general, are weakened.
Sophia Maldonado Work is a BU student who relies on accommodations to regulate her type 1 diabetes.
One of my accommodations is I'm allowed to have extra fridges if I need. So I have my little mini fridge where I keep my insulin and snacks.
Without these resources, Sophia said she would fall behind her classmates.
Kind of without this extra boost to create an equitable environment, I would be at a natural disadvantage compared to everyone else, which could impair my ability to even get through classes, get through college, certain jobs, all that stuff.
Attorney generals overseeing the lawsuit said that their goal was to challenge an executive order from former President Biden that declared gender dysmorphia as a disability. However, under this lawsuit, Section 504 would be rescinded, impacting the lives of individuals across the country. Reporting for Good Morning BU, I'm Maria Pemberton.
Thanks, Maria. In other national news, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention reinstated 180 employees who were laid off 2 weeks ago as part of a federal jobs cut under Trump and Elon Musk. The move comes after fears that more reductions could weaken the nation's ability to respond to any outbreaks, biological threats, and public health emergencies. It remains unclear how many will return or if more layoffs are imminent. Senator Raphael Warnock of Georgia welcomed the decision, but warned that without full reinstatement, public health and national security remain a danger.
Heading to Los Angeles, authorities misidentified a deceased dog while investigating the deaths of actor Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy Arakawa. The couple had 3 dogs, and though one is dead, 2 remain alive. Questions still remain about the cause of death of the couple. The 2 bodies have tested negative for carbon monoxide poisoning. Investigators continue to look into the situation.
Boston leaders made national headlines this week. Stay with us after this quick break for some more Boston stories.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. Those 9 months were also 273 days of planning. What about your daughter's first costume party? It was out of this world. And let's not forget those barbecues you plan in detail for your family and your more vegetarian by the day best friends. That surprise party for your parents' golden anniversary? You get the golden planning. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Sign up for local weather and emergency alerts. Prepare an emergency kit and make a family communications plan. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
If you need to do something to feel okay to drive, you're not okay to drive. Don't drive buzzed.
Welcome back. Our correspondent Fiona Bright-Holton is at Marsh Plaza talking to Terriers about spring break plans. What are you hearing, Fiona?
Thanks, Akua. I'm here at Marsh Plaza, and campus is absolutely buzzing with excitement for spring break. Let's see what the Terriers are up to next week. I'm here with Grayson Lashnitz. Grayson, what are you doing for spring break? I'm going to Mexico with my parents. That's awesome. And how are you feeling about flying, given the recent increase in plane crashes? This might be naive, but I'm not too worried about it. I know statistically it's still pretty improbable, so hoping for the best, maybe crossing my fingers a little extra. That's great. Well, we'll see you after break. Back to you at the desk, Akua.
Thanks, Fiona. Speaking of travel, Mayor Michelle Wu was in Washington Wednesday to testify before Congress on Boston's status as a sanctuary city. Wu, along with the mayors of New York, Denver, and Chicago, was questioned by the Republican-led Committee on Oversight and Government Reform.
If you wanted to make us safe, pass gun reforms. Stop cutting Medicaid. Stop cutting cancer research. Stop cutting funds for veterans. That is what will make our city safe.
Wu also called out Trump's, quote, border czar Tom Homan for insulting Boston's police. Homan said he will go to Boston and bring, quote, hell with him, unquote.
Massachusetts put on the national stage earlier this week when Governor Maura Healey appeared on a guest on Late Night with Seth Meyers. Healey spoke against Trump's DEI program rollbacks and encouraged Americans to tell their stories. This appearance was just one of many recently as Healey begins her campaign for re-election next year.
In other local news, the federal government is seeking to put major federal buildings in Massachusetts on the market. The Trump administration has tagged hundreds of locations nationwide as, quote, non-core properties, with 9 of them located in Massachusetts. Those on the list include U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services and local offices of Senators Elizabeth Warren and Edward Markey. The U.S. General Services Administration cited, quote, costly maintenance, unquote, as the reason for possibly putting these buildings on sale. It's unknown if and when the plan will go through. I think we all woke up to an unexpected cold morning today. Let's hope Terriers staying in Boston for spring break can expect warmer weather. Sydney, how's it looking?
While this weekend isn't looking too promising, next week for spring break is a bit better. Even though sunshine made an appearance for the first week in a while, Bostonians shouldn't pull out their swimsuits just yet. Today we can expect a high of 41 and a low of 32 with very similar temperatures on Saturday. Wind will reach up to 31 miles per hour throughout the day, persisting into tomorrow at 25 miles per hour. Sunday offers a preview of warmer temperatures next week with a high of 45, and of course, while most BU students are enjoying their spring break, temperatures might even get up to 60 degrees here. Stay with us to hear more about recent developments in campus protests and BU's recent adventures in the stars.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
It's important to get a flu shot each and every year because flu viruses are constantly changing and immunity from the vaccine decreases over time. Flu vaccines are updated annually to work against that year's viruses. The best time to get your shot is in the fall, but getting it later can still help. Getting a flu shot lowers your risk of getting sick, and if you do happen to get flu, it's likely to be less severe.
Welcome back. BU Students for Justice in Palestine held a rally outside of Marsh Plaza on Wednesday to protest BU's lack of action to approve its student government referendum bill. The proposal had 94% of BU students vote in favor of BU disclosing its investments in pro-Israel companies in the war on Gaza. However, the proposal was rejected twice by BU's Board of Trustees. BU's SJP members called out BU's administration for being, quote, actively complicit in human rights violations.
For the first time in BU history, the university is literally out of this world. A telescope made by BU engineers completed a successful landing on the moon Monday. The Lunar Environment Hemispheric X-ray Imager, or LEXI, will photograph never-before-seen images of the Earth's magnetic field from the surface of the moon. Engineers in BU's Photonics building are monitoring LEXI 24/7. They only have 2 weeks to take pictures until the moon goes dark again. From the classroom and to the court, stick with us after this break to hear about the BU women's basketball team.
I wonder if you know that I want the best for you. I know you're going through a lot. I wonder if you know that the big homie needs help too. That you can't just rebound from everything. I know you've been grinding.
Let's go, let's go, let's go.
But how long will you fight solo? I wonder if you know that we can get help. I wonder why we waited so long. I'm not wondering anymore. Love, your mind. Let's see how far we can go.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies. Food can open endless possibilities for people to thrive. Because when people are fed, futures are nourished. Everyone deserves to live a full life. And with your help, together we can end hunger. Join the movement at feedingamerica.org/actnow.
Welcome back. BU women's basketball had a slower start to their season, but things are ramping up after they defeated Lehigh University, the best team in the Patriot League. Sports correspondent Alexa Podolsky spoke to the team in honor of Women's History Month about the strong female leader who made their comeback possible.
After netting a 12-point upset against the top-ranked Lehigh Mountain Hawks, this young Terrier squad set their sights on the upcoming playoffs with a newfound confidence.
Having the feeling of, hey, we can beat the #1 team who had only lost one game before we had beaten them, that is a huge boost for us.
Coach Melissa Graves credits the group's improvement to senior captain Alex Giannaros.
I'm so proud of her. I wish I could have her for another year at least.
As Giannaros approaches the final games of her career, it's impossible to ignore her legacy.
You don't really realize when you're in it, but you know, you're spending hours upon hours upon hours every single week with these same people. Obviously, we'll still be in touch, but being surrounded by them all day, every day is definitely going to be a different feeling after leaving here.
When I first came to BU, she was the person I'd always get shots up with. I would ask her so many questions. From freshman to sophomore to juniors on the team, everybody has a relationship with her. That's a culture that she created, and I'm hoping we continue once she leaves.
She contributes to the community, to young girls around her, and playing basketball with them and doing clinics. She has just made a mark on not just BU women's basketball, but Boston University as a whole and the outer community of Boston.
The Patriot League playoffs tip off this weekend on International Women's Day. In honor of Women's History Month, this female-led D1 team works hard to embody women's empowerment.
We've taken games throughout the year that have really meant something to us, which were bigger than us, which was National Women and Girls in Sports Day, our Play for K game, our Play Bold game. You know, we've had a lot of games where we've been able to play for things larger than ourselves. Things like that are so special, and it's more than just them as basketball players. They're great human beings, they're great individuals, and that's why I just love to be around them all the time.
Being a captain the last few years has taught me a lot about myself and helped me with things that I need to improve on. And I think who I've become is something that I'm really proud of, and that comes along with all the stuff that I've accomplished on the court. The changes that I made to myself, I think really stand out to me the most.
The Terriers will open up the Patriot League tournament here at the Roof on Saturday at 2 p.m. The last time they won a conference championship was over 20 years ago. Reporting for Good Morning BU, I'm Alexa Podolsky.
Thanks, Alexa. Turning from the court to the ice. the BU women's ice hockey team will play in the Hockey East Championship game after beating ComAv rivals Boston College Wednesday night in the semifinals. The game was decided in double overtime where Lindsay Bachna scored the game winner off a rebound, giving the Terriers a 3-2 win. This is the first time since 2016 that the Terriers have made it to the championship game as they take on Northeastern for the title tomorrow at noon.
If you're staying in town over spring break, you won't want to pass on a Vintage Market pop-up event. Find out more when we come back.
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
you're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Two milligrams of fentanyl can be lethal. A lethal dose is in here. Who gets it, I won't know.
It's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable. The sad reality is, fentanyl is being mixed into everything now.
More kids should know.
Whether it's our stories, the warmth of our laugh, or our family's secret sauce, we all bring something different to the table. So make some space. The power of connection is waiting right outside your comfort zone. Learn how you can help strengthen your community at belongingbeginswithus.org/teamup.
It's important to get a flu shot each and every year because flu viruses are constantly changing and immunity from the vaccine decreases over time. Flu vaccines are updated annually to work against that year's viruses. The best time to get your shot is in the fall, but getting it later can still help. Getting a flu shot lowers your risk of getting sick, and if you do happen to get flu, it's likely to be less severe.
Welcome back. Now, how sustainable are your shopping sprees? Our lifestyle correspondent, Juliana Balboni, went out this week to give us the inside scoop on the world of secondhand fashion.
Found Vintage Market, located in Cambridge, Massachusetts, is a local thrift shop with two neighboring locations, both selling curated secondhand items. The second of the two stores sources 90s and Y2K pieces, and this location also has a make-your-own Italian charm bracelet and charm necklace station, where customers can create their own necklaces and bracelets, mixing and matching both modern and vintage charms. Between these two neighboring locations, there's truly something for everyone.
Our main goal is sustainable style, so we want to bring style to Boston, but also sustainably. The best parts are definitely that you can be creative, and if you have an idea, you can execute it because we're a small business. Some of the worst parts is also because we're a small business, we don't have a budget to do crazy ideas. So we kind of have to slowly build things. I'd say the main benefit of shopping secondhand is you just have cool, unique pieces that nobody else has. And you never know what you're going to find. Some people like the treasure hunt, the story, the history behind these garments. I mean, you can see we have so many cool garments in the store, and all of them have a story and history from before they came to you. We rent space. We have an upcoming vintage market this weekend in South Boston at Artists for Humanity. It is a huge indoor space, almost 10,000 square feet, 80 plus vendors, thousands of pieces of vintage. It is one of our best events of the year.
Wow, and that's coming up this weekend?
That is this weekend, March 8th, at Artists for Humanity in South Boston from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
This is BUTV's Juliana Balboni. Thank you so much for watching.
Thanks, Juliana. Bored of the same old tunes? Well, our correspondent Mira Donaldson interviewed local rapper C4, who is about to drop a brand new album.
Boston's music scene is filled with talent, and one artist making his mark is C4. His storytelling, lyricism, and energy bring a unique voice to the city's creative space. Today, I'm sitting down to talk to him about how Boston has shaped his artistry and what fuels his music. He's also coming off a recent appearance on Netflix's Rhythm and Flow. C4, thank you for being with us today on Good Morning BU.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, let's start off. You spent a lot of time in this city. How has Boston shaped you as an artist?
Me being from here and it being within my blood, I've always felt like it's always had a piece of me.
Who do you draw inspiration from for artistry? Like, if you could give one artist before you.
One artist before me, dead or alive, it don't matter. I would say Prince.
Prince?
Yeah, Prince is one of my favorite artists. Or like James Brown, to inspire a lot of other people to sample and just what they did on stage and their stage presence and what they command from a crowd.
When I see you perform, you remind me of Freddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury.
Yeah.
I gotta do some more research on him. I gotta do some more research. I know he is, but I definitely gotta do some more research. It's a good question.
What's your biggest roadblock that you faced thus far?
Stay true to self. Really, really understand what you have. Be authentic to self. And just don't listen to nobody. Like, whatever you're doing, do it full drive.
Coming off of Netflix's Rhythm and Flow, how are you using that like momentum to keep doing the work that you do, doing all the music, and build your audience?
I think it's been bittersweet. I think it's been dope to see myself on the screen and my family and everybody give a big support, whether so they say win or lose, you know. But at the end of the day, for me, I feel like I'm still winning.
Well, thank you, C4, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me. I wanted to just thank everybody out there, everybody that's watching now, and shout out to all my supporters and everybody that's listening. You know, Spirit of Warrior Deluxe coming out in March.
Perfect. Now back to the desk.
Thanks, Mira. You know, Sydney, you were talking about the weather and about the weather this weekend, but like, what is the weather looking out in Boston next week?
You know, the weather in Boston, like I mentioned, it's not looking super great this weekend, but next week it is supposed to get a little bit warmer. I won't be here though. I'm going home for today actually for a long 3-hour car ride. Hopefully there's no traffic. And then I'm going actually to Mexico tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. So I'm really, really excited. And the weather there I know is gonna be like 70 degrees. But I'm just ready to get tan, soak up the sun after midterms, and, you know, leave my laptop at home. No laptop, no technology, focusing on me and relaxing and not worrying about jobs or anything like that. But Akua, how are you feeling about the weather?
I'm feeling great. That's relatable because I'm going to another Spanish-speaking country, Puerto Rico. So I'll be doing the exact same thing. So we'll be miles apart, but still on the same wavelength.
We'll still be getting warm and tan. And I know when we were talking with Fiona when she was doing her live report from Marcia's Plaza, she was talking about how, you know, when she was interviewing people, she was talking about how, you know, people are a little bit nervous about flights recently. There's been a lot of change, especially with the FAA and with flights. So how are you feeling about flying?
I'm feeling pretty good. I look at it as a half glass full mentality, and at the end of the day, there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and that's sunshine in my face.
I know I'm feeling the same way. I'm an eternal optimist, so we'll have a great spring break and then be back the following week.
Yes, from all of us here on Good Morning BU, thank you for being with us. I'm Akua DeVal.
And I'm City Top. Stay safe and have a great weekend and spring break.
If you're buzzed and doing this,